are Domon Kashu, pilot of the Burning Gundam for Neo Japan. Over the past 29 episodes, you have been fighting and fighting and fighting in this world-spanning pseudo-war robot fighting tournament thing in order to uncover a sinister plot involving the evil Dark Gundam. Some stuff about your brother and Gundam zombies, but that's not important right now. You're just trying to reach your former teacher, Master Asia, in the tournament finals, and nothing is going to stop you. Except maybe your next opponent from Neo Sweden. Close personal brother-in-arms, Argo Golski, was dominated in less than a minute by the Noble Gundam. Argo's no pushover. You, in fact, have only ever been able to draw with him, so this is a big deal. So naturally, you steady your worries with a trip to the arcade. Being the hardcore martial artist you are, you gravitate towards a VR fighting game. It's the future. There's a lot of random stuff. There, you are pitted against a young woman who is able to match you step for step in a battle you could only dream of. This is Allenby Beardsley, your future opponent. What a coincidence! This is a nice change of pace from your previous fights against assassins, giants, and snake men. A nice, pure, clean bout. Even when Allenby's team does some superpowered rage mode junk, you're able to break through her programming and win the fight on good terms. This character introduction is brilliant. Not only does Allenby reinvigorate the pacing during some slow middle parts of the show, she's also great for expanding the cast. Up to this point, female characters have occupied 3 roles. Support for a male Gundam pilot, both technical and emotional, a plot motivation for a male Gundam pilot, or Nastasha.
I'm a savage, yeah. Classy, bougie, ratchet, yeah.
Having a female Gundam pilot in the group who is more than capable of holding her own gave us something new to root for. Sure, Allenby being forced to participate in the Gundam fights by her country doesn't give her the same agency as the rest of Domon's friends, but hey, an upbeat action girl who can fight on her own in an otherwise male-dominated cast, we'll take it. But we all can't get what we want. After this introduction, any potential for Allenby's arc gets wasted. And just like most of the women in G Gundam, it ultimately is used to further develop the motivations and growth of her male counterparts. This is Basic Impressions.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Some caveats first before we go on. Number 1, this is an analysis of Allenby from the dub of G Gundam. I don't know how she's portrayed in the sub, and I wasn't going to force myself to slog through another 49 episodes to find out. If you do know of a difference in characterization, please let me know in the comments below. I'd actually be very interested in discussing. Also, this isn't going to include anything about manga Allenby, who apparently is very controversial in the G Gundam fandom. Again, just the dub version. Number 2, I am a cis-hetero male, so all my analysis is coming from that perspective. Other diverse identities could take something completely different from the woman in G Gundam and be just as, if not more valid than my critiques. Number 3, finally, remember to like, subscribe, and share with your friends if you enjoy the video. If you feel so inclined, donate to us on Patreon. We also have a podcast that you can find here. Alright, let's go. Initially, Allenby's introduction coincides exactly when the agents of the Dark Gundam start to interfere with the normal tournament proceedings. Along with hanging out, Allenby also helps in trying to sort out the mess, even when she has no incentive to. She's not a Shuffle Alliance member and could easily just turn away from the nonsense, but nah, she's down for the cause. I especially love this scene where she goes and insults this British diplomat while they're investigating. It's just so direct. Like, Allenby, don't cause an international incident, calm down. Allenby also has some expertise outside of her pure physical capabilities. In episode 34, she modifies the Burning Gundam to make its hyper mode more efficient, and I like to think this makes perfect sense. See, the Gundams are explicitly stated to run off emotions. Burning Gundam's hyper mode in particular has been shown to be fueled by Domon's anger. Allenby's familiarity with her own country's berserker system could easily transfer into helping with the Burning Gundam. In a show where character growth and skills arise out of typical shonen emotion and desperation, this more technical building aspect is a good throwback to its real robot origins. Look, the hyper mode even comes into effect immediately in their tag match. Yeah, it's cheesy and it's played out, but it's 1994 and the double burning finger is pretty hype. Wow, I can't wait to see what happens next. For me, this was the peak of Allenby as a character. For the next 15 episodes, Allenby's role reverts to those positions the rest of G Gundam's women occupy, and unfortunately, she doesn't turn into Nastasha.
We'll forever be that bitch.
Let's look at the 2 parts that I mentioned before. First up, support for a male Gundam pilot. Starting with episode 35, Domon is tasked with fighting each one of his fellow Shuffle Alliance members. What does Allenby do during this time? Does she participate in other fights? Who knows? Nah, she's here to help Domon train by emulating their secret techniques. Sure, it's fine, I'm not saying she shouldn't, it's in line with her character, but this is all we see her do. She's now another woman who helps Domon parallel to Rain, the female lead and childhood friend of Domon. I know I haven't talked about Rain that much because I'm trying to focus on Allenby, but now their plotlines get intertwined. To make this short and simple, because ranting about the development of Domon and Rain's relationship would triple the length of this video, Rain is in love with Domon, and Domon kinda loves her back. Neither of them can outright say this to each other, so we need subtle foreshadowing. And how does G Gundam show that Rain might have feelings for Domon? By having her get unreasonably mad at Allenby for hanging out with Domon too much. Haha, isn't this funny? Look, she throws a wrench, and this girl says the thing.
Yep, you can't fool with a woman's heart.
So yes, there is now a love triangle between two characters who haven't expressed really anything to each other, and this hyperactive action girl who definitely has not hinted or even joked about anything non-platonic. Keep this in mind for later. Allenby's supportive role doesn't last forever, because in episode 38, support Allenby transforms into plot device Allenby. See this man? This is Chairman Wong, current bad guy trying to use the powers of the Dark Gundam. See, he was hoping to use Domon as a power source, but after researching Allenby's Berserker system, he posits that the Dark Gundam is more powerful when the power source is a woman. As such, he commandeers the Berserk system for himself and activates it to put Allenby under his control. He also has Allenby kidnapped and basically off-screen for the next couple of episodes. A missing Allenby is used to emotionally develop Rain and Domon's relationship, and I'm not gonna mince words, I find it really dumb. Even when locked away and off-screen, she's still here to support Domon. She reappears later when the tournament's ending and the quote-unquote real plot takes over as a mini-boss. A literal physical obstacle to overcome that keeps shouting about Domon and fighting Domon and so on. Oh wait, she's about to speak! It's been several episodes. What does Allenby have to say?
'Cause you must know that I also love you, Domon, with all my heart!
You serious?
Well, okay, now that's new. But don't worry, shippers. Rain's here to put her down and break her programming. While the plot accelerates to its final battle, how does Allenby contribute? Well, she does rally the rest of the countries to stand up to the Dark Gundam, but does she have a speech? Oh, no, we'll give it to the Nepalese guy. Oh, okay, sure. He even sort of outranks her when leading the other characters on the offensive. This is a one-episode character. It is just frustrating to watch. Let's just wrap this up and end this. What are Allenby's last lines to Domon when he needs encouragement?
So... I'll teach you a foolproof spell that's guaranteed to open the door to Rain's heart. All you say is, I love you. Go after her. Or else I'll never be able to fall in love with anyone else, Domon.
She turns into a fairy, asks Domon to say he loves Rain, so that she can move on and fall in love with someone else. What the fuck am I watching? Look, G Gundam clearly has a tone it's going for. It was Sunrise's first attempt to expand outside of their UC timeline and was much more super robot than real robot. Even though I thought most of it was a little too dumb and really boring, I can appreciate the attempt at a less serious and emotion-based storytelling. I'm not saying you can't write women whose motivations and actions involve supporting a man. I'm not even saying I dislike all these characters. But when every single woman seems to fulfill the same role, it's too noticeable to ignore. Also, this is still Gundam. The original 70s series had women such as Sayla and Kycilia who had their own agency and individual goals that they strove for. I just couldn't find the same for any woman in G Gundam, and especially felt disappointed for the regression of Allenby Beardsley. Also, the universe wouldn't have been saved if Nastasha didn't bring that big ship out of nowhere. Nastasha is the true savior of the universe. Fight me!